Um, Hi everybody. This is a bit different for me. I'm doing just a quick thing. I'm going to do a review of the AncestryDNA kit. I've ordered one last week. My replacement kit is in the post on its way to me as we speak. Because it got sent to the original address that I signed up to Ancestry with, instead of the address that I asked for, which is the address that's on my bank card or credit card, whatever you want to refer to it as, bank card, credit card. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because, and if anyone knows anything else out there in the big wide world, yeah, whatever, jump in, comment below, whatever, contact me. My grandmother, my great-grandmother, not my grandmother because my name is my great-grandmother's daughter. Her name is her birth certificate, Edna Phyllis Johnson. Now, her mother was Lily Johnson. I don't know if you can see it. I can't. She was 18 years old. She had my grandmother at the Royal Hospital for Women in Paddington. And there's this address, 116 Hargrave Street, Paddington, at the time of my grandmother's birth. Thing is, with this Lily, we know nothing. She's a dead end, more or less. We can't find out who my grandmother's father was. Obviously, she's 18, so she must have been an illegitimate, born out of wedlock child. All we know from what my nan has told me is that Lily didn't raise my grandma. Grandma, which is what we used to call grandma. Everyone calls grandma grandma. She's never known as an Edna. Grandma was raised by, well, we were told always growing up, Aboriginals. Now, my grandma, I will share photos one day when I figure it all out. She was white, but she'd darken up heaps come summer. What was I going to say? Now, Lily was 18. Her mother's name was Jane, I don't know. On her death certificate, she's Jane Wilson. But we know that she married a Charles Wilson or a Charlie Wilson at one stage, as well as having married another guy with the last name Johnson. But then that's speculation, but I'm thinking it's true because she's supposed to have had other children besides Lily with the Johnson last name. But she's also had a couple of other children that were named Wilson. One of these ladies that I know of 100% married an Aboriginal man, Australian Aboriginal man, which I was told by my nan a week before she passed away that they thought that Sarah, which is the lady that took grandma from her grandparents and raised her herself, was her auntie, but yet I've also been told that Sarah was supposed to have been my grandmother's sister. I'm not too sure how that works exactly. It's all, as I said, hearsay. Now, from the information that I have and the information that's on Jane's death certificate, which I have here, Lily was actually, oops, sugar. I don't know how clear that's come up. Lily was actually Lillian, and there was, with the Johnson, the unknown Johnson, they had Francis, Lillian, Roy, Ruby, and there was one male. I do have his name, but it's not on here. It's got one male deceased. Now, that'd be the other brother. It was Roy Maxwell, and I can't remember what the other brother's name was. Lillian, or Lily as she's on my grandma's birth certificate, was my grandmother's mother. Jane also had Sarah, Grace, Elsie, and they were all living. And they were to husband 2, which was Charles Wilson. Now, Sarah married Arthur Murphy. I'm pretty sure it was Arthur or Ernest Murphy, Ernest Murphy Sr. He was an Aboriginal man from Brewarrina. Now, they took my grandmother when she was, I can't remember exactly how old because it's a lot happened after that. A week later, my nan passed away and all the rest of it. But my grandma was only a teenager, and they took her, they raised her, they taught her how to do home duties and stuff like that. Basically, what I was told was she was removed by her auntie and her auntie's husband from a nasty pop grandfather, stepfather, step grandfather, I have no clue. All we know about Jane, as it said, Jane was Wilson when she passed away. Her father's name was Arthur Spooner. He was a chemist, and her mother's name was Frances, unknown. Now, the only Arthur Spooner we can find at the time was an Arthur Huxley Spooner who married a Fanny Watson in Dubbo. So, but there's no other information, there's no other connections, nothing. Now, it also says here, where are we? This here says 84 years, I think, with Jane, and she lived 76 years in Wellington, where she was born, and how long in Australian colonies. But yeah, as I said, I can't exactly read the running writing. It's old. One says 76, what looks of it, and the other one says 84. So, but we're born and how long in the Australasian colonies or states? Wellington, 76 years. And sex and age, female, 84 years at her time of death. So I'm a bit confused. Yeah, I know she passed away on the 27th of March 1944. So I'm not thinking I'm getting the right ages with Jane, and she passed away in Nyngan. So if anyone out there knows anything, hit me up. Anyone that hasn't contacted me already, that's what we've discovered is related, because it'll be interesting to know. So, but yeah, that's all we have on my grandma's grandparents, mother and nan. So hopefully this, AncestryDNA kit will help find some matches after what we've already found, because I've been keeping everyone updated with what I've got. What I've already found, I've found the house that Lily lived in when she was in Sydney, around the time she gave birth to my grandmother. I've found out that the hospital was run by the Benevolent Society of Australia, or New South Wales, whatever area. And I've also looked up the Benevolent Society around those times, and they were big on forced adoptions, white, black, pink, purple. Now, I know that the story goes with my grandmother, when she was born, she was supposed to have been adopted out, but her grandfather, whatever his name is, Johnson, because it's unknown, he took her from the hospital and took her back to Nyngan and raised her. So somewhere in between there and Jane hooking up with this Wilson guy and whoever, somehow my grandmother got treated badly or whatever. She took it to a grave, more or less. She took everything to a grave. She did have Alzheimer's disease, and yes, there were things you used to ask over and over and over again, and you'd have to repeat. It was being a kid. Never thought it was good. It was grandma. We all loved her. And we never judged her. We never got cranky with her or anything like that. Nan and other people did get a little bit snarky, but what do you expect? They're their kids. But yes, us grandkids, or most of us grandkids, I won't go into details of others, but yeah, we respected, and we still do respect our grandparents. So I don't have my nan to sit back and talk to and trying to work out little links anymore. I've got my aunties and whoever's left, which isn't, there's a few, but yeah, it's not the same as getting the information and all the rest of it. I know up there now, if there's a heaven, my grandma, my nan, they're all together with whoever, and they know their past and they know the truth. That's how I look at it. But I'm getting sidetracked. So, but yeah, no. So hopefully, doing the AncestryDNA is going to make a big smash in the thing. Failing that, hopefully this bloody hospital ends up answering one time, because I've got to reconfirm prices and that to get hospital records so I can think. But yeah, just no one seems to want to answer for the past week and a half, and that's where I'm going to get my main information with the hospital records and the rest of it, which I can't wait to do. I do have paperwork, I just can't be bothered looking for it. But I just want to confirm actual pricing before sending off any checks for Australia Post and stuff like that to pay for hospital records and make sure it's going to the right the checks written out to the right places and that. So, but yeah, other than that, I'll keep us updated. I'll do a little review when I get my DNA test kit. My dad rang me this morning to tell me that he got his, so I've been waiting for mine. It still hasn't turned up. But yeah, so, and I'll get going. I've got a little baby who's ready for sleep after a big play at playgroup, and I've got a bit of, as you can see behind me, a bit of tidying to do, and I'll get going, and I'll see you later.